Do not adjust your TV or your computer or phone. It is not a repeat. This is live again. It's new. We started over. You know, it happens. Season 4, episode 28. I could probably do better this time anyway. So here's the way it worked. Went to Canada and decided we were going to try to find a cocktail in Canada. We hunted hard. And we found one. We found one of the oldest cocktails in Canada. And it's not the Caesar. No, it's the Toronto cocktail, eh? Yeah, come on. Yeah, so we're going to learn all about it. So here we go. Season 4, episode 28. Come on, Blue Monkey Quarantina. We already did this once, but we're going to try it again. So the only business is monkey business. Come on, let's go make a cocktail. Let's see if this silly thing will work this time. Blue Monkey. Here we go. All right. Before I start rambling on for what seems like minutes, I'm going to make sure we're working. Are we better now?
Looks like it.
Looks like we're working. All right, we're going to try it. Who knows? If you're out there, or one person who watches this show, let us know. Better?
Yeah, looks like it.
All right, here we go. So, season 4, episode 28. We did. So, the whole point of this show tonight is to celebrate the fact that we went to Toronto and we came back. Yes, we were up there to watch a wonderful, beautiful wedding ceremony, and we did. Cody, Eric, congratulations. And in the midst of everything, I spent what felt like minutes researching Canadian cocktail history. And that's not a dig on Canadian cocktail history. That's a dig on the fact that I only spend still, to this day, only 8 minutes preparing for this show. It seems... Paul, it seems like you spend hours. I know it doesn't. So anyway, here's the cocktail. Toronto cocktail. Yeah, this thing, it's got some legs on it, and it's got history. Let me take you back. 1922 is where we're starting. We're starting with Robert Vermeer. Sound familiar, Shelby?
Yes.
Yeah, because we just talked about it and have to do show over. So Robert Vermeer, in his book, Cocktails, How to Make Them, again, fancy books they wrote back then. He's the first one who wrote about this cocktail. Then, 1930, William Boothby, he also wrote about this cocktail in his book, American Bartender. I know, America, Paul, it's a Canadian cocktail. It was so popular, it got all the way to the Americas. Anyway, then in 1948, David Embury, David Embury, he also writes about this cocktail in his book, The Fine Art...
Sorry, could you...
You zip it, Siri. The Fine Art of Mixing Drinks. Another fancy title book. So, here's the deal. Paul, why'd you give us 3 different dates for the history of this cocktail? I did it because over those 3 different dates, this cocktail evolved. So, in 1922, when it was originally written by Robert Vermeer, the cocktail actually was said to use either cognac, brandy, or rye whiskey. And then... you would use a simple syrup. And also at that time, now it always had Fernet in it. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the name of the cocktail back in 1922 was actually called the Fernet cocktail. So if you go back far enough, it's called the Fernet cocktail. But then in 1930, when it got changed just a little bit more, the name got changed. That's when it officially became the Toronto cocktail. Now, why did they call it the Toronto cocktail? Well, it's all because of William Boothby. And he discovered that they really liked it in Toronto. As he said, and I quote, those Torontonians, that's what you call somebody from Toronto, those Torontonians really love their Toronto cocktail. And that's what he started calling it. But it was really in 48 when things made the cocktail. And that is because in 1948, when David Embury got done with it, he decided that to make this a true Toronto cocktail, one, it should always be made with Canadian whiskey. And instead of simple syrup, real maple syrup. Yum. So, folks, we got everything we need for it. So, what are our ingredients? Well, let me ice these glasses up real quick, which I did earlier, which is actually going to just pay dividends to us, Shelby. All right. Star number 1. Fernet Branca. So this is an Italian bitter liqueur back from 1845. Where does the name come from, Paul? I'm glad you asked. So the name comes from Dr. Fernet, who it was kind of he created it, but it was actually made by Bernardino Branca. That's the other name. And so they made it. And it is rumored today that there is still only one or two people, the head of the Branca family, that know the full recipe. So we're going to be using that. The other thing we're going to be using is maple syrup. Canada, maple syrup time. Do you know Canada makes 71% or produces 71% of all the Europe in the world, or all the syrup, all the Europe. Let me try that again. Canada produces 71% of all this syrup in the world. Huh. The more you know.
I wonder if that means the Marmers produce the other 30%.
I don't know. They do make some. And then our last main ingredient tonight is going to be our Canadian whiskey. So, how do you know you have a good Canadian whiskey? So
you look it up.
You look it up. That's what we did. Looked it up in the airport. So we came back with gooder ham and warts. It's not the best of hams, but it's a pretty gooder ham.
That's what I was like. You said gooder, really?
Yeah, well, it is gooder ham. That's the name of it, gooder ham. Gooder ham and warts, 1837. What's fun about this one is this actually was originally produced in Toronto where we were. So I felt this is really the perfect drink we can go with this. Now, this whiskey, by the way, is also a 4-grain whiskey. So a lot of times whiskeys will just have like corn and barley or corn and rye or whatever. This actually uses all 4. This is corn, barley, rye, and also wheat. It's supposed to be delicious. The other way you know if you've got yourself a good Canadian whiskey, it'll say on there Canadian whiskey, but no, actually what it'll say,
it's great.
It'll say whiskey, but it'll be Whisky. Remember, Canadians took out the E. So American whiskey, Whisky, and they don't, it's Whisky. They take the E out because they use it in A all the time. That's all we got. For God's sakes, Paul, make this horrible drink that you're just butchering with your jokes. All right, this actually is going to be a delicious drink. So here we go. We're coming in with our whiskey. So 2 ounces. Can I just start that again? I mean, did you hear that lovely?
That was lovely.
Oh, 2 and 1 for Shelby. There it is. Then we're coming in with a 1/2 ounce of our Fernet Branca. So that's 1 ounce total. Then we're coming in with maple syrup. Yeah, straight up maple syrup, 1/2 ounce per. So we're going to go 1 ounce total. You know that's really going to be delicious, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
That's no Aunt Jemima.
No, there's no Mrs. Butterworth or anything. This is legit. And then we're going to come in with some aromatic bitters, Angostura, not the orange bitters, but the aromatic, and about 2 dashes per. There it is.
Yes, Elf would love this drink.
Who would?
Elf.
And then we're stirring. Now, I will say I was tempted to shake this. You never shake without juice, but the maple syrup had me a little nervous because maple syrup is not the easiest thing to mix into an ice cold drink.
But that's not.
But it's legit maple syrup, so it's thinner. Yeah. So you and I were on the same wavelength. That's what I was going with. So folks, there it is. Glasses, chilled. Just kidding. Gotta admit, it's a pretty drink though, right? Mm-hmm. Nice color, looks lovely.
It looks like maple syrup.
It does. Then we're going to come in with a little bit of emergency. which is just going to really play well, play very nicely with our aromatic bitters already. So we'll just give it a little sprinkle there. No, we're not. Fresh bag. Hold on. There we go. Oh, there we go. There, let's try this again. A little there, a little there. And then the ultimate garnish, the Luxardo. Yes, Shelby's favorite.
Yum.
Yeah, we're going to come in and if one's good, two should be great, right?
Yep.
Oh. Boop.
Did you say boop or poop?
Boop. I booped.
You booped.
You know, Paul, some people actually get these out ahead of time. I know. Where's the fun in that? How am I going to spend 15 minutes with you if I spend 5 of it prepping? There it is. Folks, that is your Toronto quarantine-style cocktail. Quarantine Toronto, I say. Oh, never mind. Probably too soon for them. They're still a little masky there. Well, let's just have a cocktail, Paul.
Only
All right.
the airport is masking.
Yeah, that's a funny story.
Only the passengers.
I
The
know.
employees are not
Yeah.
masking.
All right, hold on. You ready?
That was a big slurp.
It was. Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, Canada?
Oh, Canada. You did well with this one, Toronto. So it's great. I'll tell you what. If you're a whiskey drinker, you're going to love this because it's got that warm notes. The bitter in the syrup, it's really mellowed out. But if you're not a huge whiskey drinker, this would be a nice little entry. It's almost like a mapley old fashioned on some level. So yeah, funny story. We flew into Toronto, no masks on the plane, but as soon as you landed, you had to put your mask on, and that was kind of funny. So anyway, here I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring yours too, Shelby. Hold on. Let me get a zoom in on this one. Hold, please. Look at this. Oh, it's pretty impressive. Here you go. Give that a try. It can be a new favorite. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Hold on. Oh, why am I slurping? Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
Yeah, delicious. Toronto, there you go. Shelby, last bit of trivia. We'll end on this one. Are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. If you had to guess, would you think, what do you think came first? The Canadian flag or this cocktail?
Oh, well, is the Canadian flag based off of this cocktail?
It is not.
Okay.
But it does have a maple leaf on it, and I do have a maple leaf shaped bottle of syrup involved in this cocktail. Are you ready for this bit of history? So the maple leaf has been part of the national symbol for Canada since like 1860s. All right. So, okay, you got it. But the maple leaf flag that symbolizes Canada. Oh, hit our button. Yeah.
I had it up earlier.
Yeah, that one. That actually that was not the flag of Canada until 1965. Can you believe? Oh, look at this. Look at us sporting a Canada here. So, yeah, 1965, before that maple leaf made it and was official flag. So, the more you know, just go drink. Folks, there it is. That's your cocktail twice tonight. Hope you enjoyed it the second time. And, hey, to everybody out there, cheers. And we'll see you sometime soon. And get ready, because we're getting set up for details to come soon. We're getting ready for the 24-hour Blue Monkey Quarantine Cocktail Telethon. Second annual. We're going for 75 cocktails in 24 hours.
Let's see if we
I'll
can
start with this one.
break Paul's liver.
We're out. Cheers, everybody. Love you. Good night.